Okay, so we are moving on to the next session that is about the policy inputs we had from the workshop of today, so from the 2 sessions of today. Thank you so much for participating in the workshop. I listened to many beautiful experiences from there. So I just call one by one like a responsible person for every workshop. Please just keep in mind that you have 5 minutes for maximum, so be short and very, just summarize your inputs. The first person is for workshop A, Monica Auziger. Workshop A was about ECVET and EQF framework and EXPO classification.
Thank you. Workshop A in a nutshell, aim to only use 3 of my 5 minutes, so I'm giving away 2. As you said, Workshop A was about ECVET or EQUET, the European Credit Transfer System for Vocation, Education and Training. And we focused on, in the workshop, of how these ECVET principles can be used in the design of qualifications and curricula. One of the key principles that is at the heart of this ECVET or EQUET is the principle of units of learning outcomes, meaning that qualifications are structured into smaller components and described in terms of learning outcomes. The reason why this is done is very much related to many of the issues that have been discussed at this conference. So it's much about making vocational education and training more tailor-made, more personalized, more individualized, but also making it more responsive to changes, to technological advancement, to societal changes, and making qualifications easier to adapt and easier to be brought up to date. We discussed a couple of national examples actually in our workshop to see how countries have decided to implement this, and we discussed examples from Finland, from Portugal and Estonia, and we also had a very nice discussion in the group on examples of countries where the appetite to implement these principles maybe has not been that high. We also came to the conclusion that this principle of learning outcomes, describing qualifications in terms of learning outcomes, is very important. It provides a lot of added value and benefits, but it's also important how you do it, because the devil lies in the detail, and when you compare different learning outcome statements with each other, you will see that they are written in very different ways and they are very heterogeneous. So comparing them and coming to a conclusion and whether there's something equivalent takes more than just comparing these statements. So all in all, it's a good set of principles, but it all depends on how you implement it. That can sometimes be a challenge. So the important thing here is for all countries, I think, to exchange experience and to learn from each other.
Thank you, Monica. Workshop B, Early School Leaving Toolkit SEDEFOP, will be presented by Fadia Kaisat.
Hello everybody. We have the possibility to have the workshop with SEDEFOP, with Irene, and they show us the web toolkit for taking early leaving at school. And it is a tool for policy making and for that. Give you the possibility to detect the people at risk at school for early leaving, and also measures and tool to avoid it or to face with this challenge. And the last thing was about how to motivate students that are at risk. They are going in the platform. You can see the platform in the SEDEFOP website. There are so many tools, but also, for example, mobility was one of the tools that motivates students, and also to motivate them in new school forms, because the people inside say that the school is so old and the students sometimes are getting boring, so this is one of the probably for the early school. Okay.
Thank you, Fabia. Interesting that in many workshops we had this issue like how to motivate the young people or not. So next workshop is about MEMEVET, Mechatronics and Metallurgical VIT for sectors industries, and will be presented by Vincenza D'Ambrogio.
Thank you, Greta. Thank you to everyone. We are MEMEVET. We are a Sector Skill Alliance project involving a cluster for mechatronics, vets, companies. We are working out a cross-border curriculum. This is one of the main tasks. And we have another goal, the creation of an e-card where to upload the skills of users. So we had the project meeting just in the framework of this fantastic congress. During we see each other, we have discussed topics that are still going. So during the implementation, we are implementing cross-border courses, traversal, transnational curriculum for mechatronics and metallurgy, and during the implementation of these courses, we are dealing with different challenges, with different problems. So, but of course, our greatest challenge is the recognition of the new developed courses. So we have worked 2 years to recognize that the recognition is a very, very important point that we can solve, we can stay there. So this is our, so I come to this lot of this part of the forum, which is our suggestion at the European level. Please work out a framework for the EQF, the level 4, because there is because this is a level that is in the competence of the national states. So we cannot overcome this point. It is a problem. At the moment we are dealing, we are in dialogue in each country with authorities, local or national authorities. Of course, the results of this recognition will be at the end of the project completely different from one country to the other. So it's very important to face this problem with a European framework. So we need a framework at level 4 or the EQF. Thank you.
Many thanks for these interesting inputs. Workshop D, ESCO database and its application within the skills for site technology, which will be presented by Cristina Martelli.
During our workshop, very interesting, we discussed quite in deep on the limits and advantages of using ESCO, and the main topics that we have focused on have been summarized here in this slide. The main one is the difficulty in making ESCO work for end users. So in our experience, unfortunately, end users are a little bit, they find ESCO a little bit tricky, and they are in some sense more used to their own language and then dialects to describe work. So the point is that perhaps working on a more friendly interface or something like that could be help in promoting the using of ESCO when describing job profiles or working on the gap between training and needs of companies as support. Another point is the fact that only the labels in ESCO object are translated in the 27 languages and Arabic. And mainly the description are only in English, and so if you want to take advantages of new technologies like artificial intelligence or semantic web or integration with other ontologies and so forth, is quite impossible because the description, which is very, very rich by a semantic point of view, is only in English, and typically the domestic job market speaks in the native language of the different countries. So it's so important to translate in the different languages all the ESCO objects. Then we would like to have track of different ESCO releases, and we discussed on the fact that ESCO is a sort of picture, it's not a movie. So ESCO describes the labor market and how it is now till the next release. But during these years we have had different releases, and it would be useful to keep track of the differences and of the improvement, the changement that have been done in the repository. And finally, we would like to improve the transparencies of the ESCO update processes, because nowadays we really don't know exactly how it works in these updating processes. And we understand that there are a lot of inputs, a lot of contributions coming from blueprints, from a lot of different sources that in some sense, in some way are managed and elaborated centrally by ESCO, but we need perhaps a more wide, a more open decision process. Why an occupation is a new occupation is not a simple evolution of an old one, for instance. About all these things, we think that we need more transparency. Thank you.
Now, I kindly ask Concetta Afonso to join here and to discuss about the workshop E tra educazione e organizzazioni quali competenze.
Thank you so much. So our workshop started with a presentation about our national system. Starting from the national context, we also try to see the link to the international trends and initiatives. So we mainly synthesized our discussions around three main points. It was important for us, first of all, to stress how it is important to invest in new initial and continuing training methods and contents for teachers and trainers, as well as learning methods for students with the aim to change the teaching and learning culture in our systems, and to align them with the future skills needs that we actually are facing in our systems. Second point was to reinforce and invest in experiences of traineeship and work-based learning within companies and businesses in local and abroad, making learning mobility a reality through the provision of appropriate guidance services and validation systems for the recognition of skills and competences acquired in all learning contexts, formal, non-formal and informal. And final point was to show how we would like to invest more in joint bed curricula and stronger networking activities as a result of cross-fertilization created by the implementation of fruitful partnerships developed through national and transnational mechanisms, which could connect different bed stakeholders with the aim to foster innovation, excellence, and attractiveness of web system and policies. So our final goal, we stress that should be to improve the evaluation and impact of our policies at system level. More radically, we believe it is time for a comprehensive review of the sector, and in particular, it is important to align the policies that we actually have. So in fact, it is not only about making that more attractive to its audience, it is also about promoting evidence-based policies to connect theory to practice. So thank you.
Workshop F, self-reflection on effective learning by fostering the use of innovative educational technologies. Ralph Hippe.
Yeah, in our workshop, we were talking about digital technologies and how they can be used on the one hand side in the schools, but also on the other side in companies. So the Selfie tool was developed last year and launched last year by the European Commission. It's a tool which has been used by more than 400,000 participants so far, and it's used in more than 30 countries. It's a tool which is available worldwide in more than 30 languages, and allows schools to see where they stand in the use of digital technologies. So this tool so far is available for various education levels, starting from primary education, lower secondary education, upper secondary general education, upper secondary VET education, and post-secondary non-tertiary education. So as we are here at Skillman, the most relevant part is certainly the upper secondary VET sector. And for this sector, it has already been used by more than 50,000 participants. However, this current VET module doesn't allow to ask companies to talk about work-based learning systems. So that's something that we will develop from next year on, so that the Selfie tool, which is a questionnaire which is asked to school leaders, teachers, and students, will also be asked to trainers in the companies. And the idea is to know more also what is going on in the companies and to improve the cooperation and the collaboration between VET schools on the one hand side and companies on the other hand side. So we were then discussing more in detail how does the questionnaire for such a tool need to look like. So we have already a proposition, and participants were giving detailed feedback what they would like to see. For example, in the new area that will be developed on cooperation between VET providers and companies, we should have questions which ask also the learners how effective the communication is between both sides, which is apparently something which is very important but not sufficiently working well in all systems. And we also were looking at other issues. For example, the Selfie tool is developed on the basis of a theoretical framework called the digital competence of educational organizations. And this should also be much more in line with another framework that we have, which is the digital competence of learners. So we can also bring these two elements closer together, something that we have already scheduled in our work plan, in our unit, but that we can do even more so in the future. Thank you.
Workshop G, Mobility and Learning. Manos Andreade is here. The floor.
Thank you, Marina. Hello, everyone. Workshop G. Workshop G was about transnational mobility and learning. And first of all, let me say a couple of things how we ended up with this topic to have a special workshop on this. For the Skillman network and further to the discussions we have with Giovanni Risona, we ended up that mobility learning is a very powerful learning experience, which can be used to improve skills, practices, and mentalities. And in this way, contribute to empower employment, to give a boost to entrepreneurship, and also help with social cohesion. And this is the reason that we made this workshop, where we had the opportunity to show some best practices, some case studies of different schemes of mobility that takes part, with an emphasis at this time, in Europe. After that, we had a very good brainstorming activity, and I would like to thank all the participants to this workshop. And we ended up with some proposals, some things that need to be done in order to adopt this practice in mobility learning through the Skillman network. First, a very important thing is that we need to check and take decisions about many practical aspects. From the conversations that we had, we noticed that every country, every sector have different needs. So we have to take care that all these mobility schemes have to take into account the specific characteristics and what needs we need to cover in each case. Also, we have to check some practical aspects like the visa requirements, which has to do then with the duration of the activities, and also maybe bilateral agreements that need to be signed between European Commission and third countries. Another basic conclusion is the role about the intermediary organizations. The program needs experienced intermediary organizations who are going to be able to facilitate the whole process. They are going to manage and contribute to have successful mobility schemes. And the third conclusion, very important, is that we need mobility for all. Now we can see that although theoretically mobility is for all, we don't have equal opportunities. Not everybody has the opportunity to participate to this. So we need to take measures in order to make this accessible for everybody. Thank you.
Workshop H, Caronte, Skills for Wet Learners, Young Entrepreneurs and Future Innovators. The inputs are going to be presented by Stefania Marzocchi.
Thank you. So, Caronte is a European project still ongoing. It started 2 years ago. And it's carried out by an international group, Italian, Spanish, and Finnish. It deals with digital information competence. So during the workshop, we tried to share with participants what is the main concept linked to digital information competence, why this competence is becoming more and more important nowadays to face digital revolution and all the breakthrough technologies that we are having in our daily life or in our daily working activities. During the workshop, we had a panorama about the European situation in teaching digital information competence. There are frameworks, there is already a recognition of the necessity of preparing our younger generations to acquire this competence. But some countries are more advanced than others, and Italy is not well positioned in this sense. At the end, talking about next generation future job, we concluded that to face the challenges that new generation will have to face, digital information competence is necessary. But there is still a lack of training programs, also assessment tools, and also exchange of information, occasion to exchange best practices about this training this competence. So our suggestion, our input towards decision makers regards the necessity to insert insert digital information competence into training programs since the very early stage of education, not only at university, not only retraining the workforce, but starting from the beginning at a very early stage when education starts. This in order to create a habit because it's very much a mixture of knowledge and skills, but also very much importance is given to attitudes. And so we have to train people to have this attitude since the beginning of their lives. And that's why our suggestion is to insert training programs, training modules, training experience since the beginning at the first level of school education for digital information competence. Thank you.
Workshop I, Fit for Fourth, making our workforce fit for the factory of the future. Sabine Afne Zimmermann.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I'm talking on behalf of the Fit for Fourth project, which is a European Horizon 2020 project, and it is called Making Our Workforce Fit for the Factory of the Future. And we have the main idea is what we already heard during the past 2 days already, that digital technologies are introducing pressure on companies as well as on employees. So Europe especially faces considerable challenges to master this. So new training and upskilling approaches are vital to keep European manufacturing industry innovative and competitive. Thus, our policy input would be that we need to optimally support both the workers in the future development as well as employers in identifying the suitable upskilling approaches for them to stay competitive and to be innovative also in the future. And the Fit for Fourth approach is a co-design approach which brings together the employer, the employee and the training provider to, in a joint approach, identify the most suitable training paths and identify also the needs that need to be targeted when approaching on that upskilling path. So what we did in our workshop here at the Skillman forum was we discussed with the participants how could such a co-design workshop look like and what are important aspects that need to be taken into account when using that approach. And one important outcome was that this co-design approach, which takes into account the needs of both the workers and the employers, is a very relevant approach to tackle the skills needs and the skills gaps that we have in European enterprises. And more concretely, the participants in our workshop today highlighted that this needs to take place in a safe environment where the employees and the workers really can tell what's important to them without feeling a pressure from their employer, so that they really manage to move out of the comfort zone and discussing what would be their goal in terms of training and upskilling, so that they really see that there's a benefit in upskilling for themselves. It is not only pressure imposed to them, like needing to change, but looking at this as an opportunity. So that needs a safe and controlled environment. Also, both on the employer and on the employer side, there needs to be a positive attitude towards this upskilling. Again, not fear of change, but seeing the possibilities that come along with upskilling possibilities. And and for the employers to really engage in that co-design workshop, we need to make clear to them what's the benefit for them in engaging in this workshop, that they really have concrete outcomes for them make it that it's worth for them to engage in this workshop, that to really take the time and the money to really try this new approach in upskilling their personnel. That's the results from our workshop, and I want to invite everybody who's interested in this approach, this co-design approach, to come back to us, and we can see if there's something we can do together as well. Maybe you can go to the next slide. There's the project website as well. So just go to the project website and let us know that you're interested, or come back to me. And there's also some flyers outside. And, in European projects, it's always important to network. So we're really open to join with you and to share ideas. So thank you. Thanks also to the Skillman team for inviting us here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Last but not least, I invite Giorgio Zesimos to come here for discussing about the last workshop, that is workshop L, ETF, European Training Foundation, setting up and running the program.
Good afternoon. So in our session we talked about the Centers of Vocational Excellence. So we had an excellent discussion with excellent questions and excellent participants, everything excellent. We started with this definition of Centers of Vocational Excellence, just to know that there is not a common definition for what is a Center of Excellence, but rather there are elements that can be part of a Center of Excellence. We discussed a bit about the work that is done by the European Commission that is leading this file on the Centers of Excellence, and the mapping exercise we have done in the Member States and the countries, and the plans for the future through the Erasmus+. 200 million will be allocated in this portfolio as of 2021. We discussed also about the work that my institution, ETF, is doing as a mirror exercise to the one of the Commission, with the mapping of Centers of Excellence in countries outside the EU. The discussion went more towards how you actually develop a Center of Excellence and how you develop a network of the Centers of Excellence. So we discussed a bit about the what and the how. What is the area that the Center of Excellence focuses on, and then how it does it. So we went into this logic of the sectors, and then how you can bring together Centers of Excellence within the same sector, and then about the challenges and the needs of a Center of Excellence, and how you create a network that focuses on that, on the common areas, thematic areas, and common challenges. We discussed a bit about the drivers as well. We focused mainly on the government-driven Centers of Excellence and on the private-driven Centers of Excellence. And there was a debate about how do you keep a balance? What's best? I think that was a very creative discussion, and it's helpful for us as well, because there is no real answer that one is better than the other. We actually said that perhaps a balance which corresponds to the needs of the context in which this Center of Excellence function could be the best. And then we discussed a bit about the value, the role of the network. A network of centers of excellence or a network of networks of centers of excellence. And what could be the value of that, of creating partnerships, of aiming at innovation, exchange of experiences, use of tools that others are creating for the assessment of a center of excellence, for example. There are not so many tools around. And I think if there is a conclusion to draw from that section is that talking about centers of excellence, it's a topic that is high on the political agenda at the moment at the European level. I think there's a need for more research, more investigation about it. It's clear that the issue of partnerships and networking is top on that agenda, and it's just a matter of finding the right way of bringing centers of excellence together at national and transnational level. Thank you.